Okay, so now let's discuss about the Android components. This Android components is something necessary. We can tell these are like the building blocks that an Android application consists of. So every component is actually loosely coupled components, which is again bounded by the application manifest files. So this application manifest files contains the description of each component and how they interact. So if we see application components are broadly categorized in four different sections. One is activities, one is broadcast receivers, one is services, and one is content providers. Along with this, there are certain additional Android components are also there. So we'll be discussing about it in the upcoming session. So if we talk about the first one, that is activities. So activities is said to be in the presentation layer of our applications. So the UI of the application is built on one or more extensions of the activity class. So by using fragments and views, activity set the layout and display the output and also respond to user actions. Right. So when we certainly take care of any activity, like we uh, do some set of actions. So if we in an Android application, suppose we have opened the application, we are uh, doing certain tasks like in the application we are clicking some button to view some web pages or we are clicking on some button to take some action. So those are kind of activities that a user is performing. So this activity is implemented as a subclass of class activity. In short, activity can be termed as a page where the developer do the designing stuff to handle user interactions. So it has two layers actually. One is front end and another one is back end. So in the front end, XML uh, is used, and in the backend, Java or Kotlin language is being used. So next comes the services. Services are like invisible workers of our applications. These components run in the backend, like updating our data sources, monitoring or tracking the activities, triggering the notification, and also broadcasting the intents. So they do not have any user interface. They usually perform certain tasks on the backend and even when the application is not active. So a service can be used as a subclass of class service. Considering an example of a music player, so we certainly perform actions on some different apps, but in the backend, music player runs and the audio files runs. So you can consider as a music player running in the background is kind. So now let's talk about the content providers. So this is basically used to manage and persist the application data. So usually this interacts with the database, that is SQLite database, file system or wave server in order to provide the specific content to the specific applications that they are requesting for. Content providers are also responsible for sharing the data beyond the application boundaries. On the content providers of a particular application can be configured to allow access from other applications, like as we have discussed. So basically, there certainly there might be two applications, and one application is certainly uh, need the permissions to or access the other applications file systems. And content providers exposed by other application can also be configured. So if we talk about the applications such as Google Photos or the gallery requesting the files or permissions from the WhatsApp or WhatsApp requesting the access to the Google Photos. So these are like the content providers just take care of the certain tasks. Now, if we talk about the broadcast receiver, they are known to be the intent listeners as they enable the application to listen to the intents to satisfy the matching criteria specified by us, which means that broadcast receivers make our application react to any received intent, thereby making them perfect for creating event-driven applications. That means like application can send and receive broadcast messages from other apps or Android systems, which sends broadcast automatically when various events occurs. Like when we are operating our mobile devices, and certainly we noticed that our mobile devices needs to be charged, then we plug our mobile devices for the charging. So when we charge the device, then certainly we get a pop-up like the application is getting charged or charging in progress or something like that. So broadcast receiver uh, uh, take care of the events of broadcasting that the device is getting charged. Or sometimes we receive the SMS on our Android devices. So when we are operating or functioning other application or doing other tasks, then we get a message like uh, there is a message in the inbox or SMS received. So these are the task or action item done by the broadcast receiver for the particular event. So these all four components, activities, broadcast receiver, services, content providers, should be registered and binded in the manifest files. So these are all individual components or loosely components, but these are all declared in the manifest file and binded so that each has the interaction, each activities or each component has the interaction with one another. Now let's talk of the additional components. So there are few additional components called intents, widgets, notifications, manifest, fragment, view, layout, resources. Now, if we talk about the manifest, so first we'll talk about the manifest. So as we have already mentioned, that manifest holds the configuration of an app. So this particular whatever the component is developed as part of the application should be declared in the Android manifest.xml file. So whenever you decompile an APK file, you will see an Android manifest.xml file wherein you'll observe all the configurations of the applications is declared in that particular file, and that file is in XML format. Now fragment. So fragment is a part of an activity, and using it you can design UI